Hi, and welcome to another episode of EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Craig Andersen.
And I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
How's it going, Joanne?
Good, how are you?
Good. Well, this is my first time doing this, so hopefully I do as good a job as you and Chris.
Okay.
So what did we want to cover today?
Well, a lot of our customers are really curious about the new CRM module, what that looks like. I thought maybe we could take a look at that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
This is a very exciting module for us. It's a whole new perspective of how to access and manage customers, which, as we all know as business owners, that's a really keen aspect of your business, and it's sometimes challenging. So we're hoping our CRM module will help with that. Currently, our CRM module has 4 primary views. It has a home view, has a customer view, has a report view, and an event view.
Okay.
And we'll go through each one of those. So why don't we take a look at the home view first?
Great.
Okay. All right. So one of the things that's uniquely different compared to enterprise today is we've redesigned the GUI. And this basic GUI design is going to actually be applied to enterprise. We have created a new kind of workflow diagram. It's not really a workflow, but it's more of a graphical representation of how the modules hang together. We also have created access buttons to all the modules located on the left-hand side. So any modules that you own in CRM or with the new GUI, those buttons will be available. Unlike in Enterprise now, they just gray out.
Yes.
And actually in the new CRM and in the new GUI of Enterprise, the modules disappear if you don't own them.
Okay. And what if a user doesn't have access to them?
Well, that's a good point too. We also taken that a step further, that if the user doesn't have access to a module, that button also disappears as well.
Okay.
So it's a little more dynamic than it has been in the past.
Okay.
So on the home view, I have basically 3 CRM tabs. I have the home, which shows this graphical design, modules on the side. I want you to note that we can access these modules from any location in CRM. I also want to show you that unlike the existing enterprise main GUI, we can actually expand this to full view now. So you get more real estate to see the information on screen. So from the home tab, I have access to the modules. Cool feature, I can right click, actually create an order, add an estimate, and get access to the top 5 orders or estimates that are currently in the system. I can do that from one on top of the other buttons as well. By clicking any one of these buttons, I can actually launch the module, and it brings the enterprise screen up that you're very familiar with if you're an enterprise user now. And it also makes a little button down here in the lower left-hand corner of the module that is open. So I can open as many modules as I want, what Job Costin does. And I can toggle back and forth between any of those. So it kind of gives me a quick little toolbar access to all the different modules, streamlining your workflow.
That's great.
Okay. So I highlight CRM again. And you also have access to various support functions, which are also these 5 buttons down here on the bottom. So HE is help. RN is release notes. We have the support icon. We have the customer forum and the training videos, which is where one of these is going to be stored.
Great.
Okay. All the other modules, you may not have functions you can perform, but by right-clicking, you still get that context menu, and you can access reports related to that particular module.
Oh, that's
so
great.
that's kind of a cool feature. Okay. Well, the next area is the dashboard. So the dashboard view is an interesting area because it actually can be defined by users. So I can have my own dashboard, and you can have your own dashboard. And what you're able to add to the dashboard is dependent on your access rights in enterprise. So if you have access to financial information or estimates and orders, you'll be able to add gauges and widgets that are pertinent to that information in the database. Okay. So I have a bunch of actual widgets here. And I can put as many as I want. There's no limitation on how many widgets you add. To add a widget, it's very simple. Just right-click in the open space, click Add Widget, and you get this screen where you can actually define all the parameters for that widget. There are many types of charts and columns and graphs that you can use. I'm not going to go through all of this, but this is basically where you define the characteristics and the information that is feeding these particular widgets. We're going to go into this stuff in a lot more detail in some future videos. I can then, while I have a widget or a chart on top of the screen, I can double click it and actually get a full view. And we actually added something just pretty cool. We have a print button now. We can actually print this particular chart right to a paper report now. So
Right.
you actually print this chart out. Now the advantage to increasing the size of the chart is I get more information, because right now in this small format, I'm only able to show 4 items. So by double clicking it actually expands it open.
Okay.
Now you can also right click on the report as well and click details. I'm not going to do that right now because it'll take some time to run a little bit. But each of these widgets is being driven by a report and a stored procedure. So if I actually want to see the detail that is actually feeding this particular widget, I would right click and hit details, and that will then run the report for that widget.
Okay.
And I can see all the information that's actually feeding that. All right. The next view within the home screen is the favorites area. This is again by user. This is where a user can add a series of widgets. We have a handful of them now that provide shortcuts and quick access to different things.
Okay.
The first one is applications. I can create actually a button to any executable or application that resides on my workstation. Once I've created it and it gets shown in this application widget, by clicking it, I can actually launch that application. So if I was to click this one, it would launch Excel. Documents, same sort of concept. This doesn't necessarily have to be on the workstation. This can be actually within your network, but you can add any document that you readily have to access. I use documents all the time for various reasons, and this is without having to go out of CRM, I can now get a quick access to that document. The website widget is where you can create and add a URL to actually create a button for a shortcut to a website. It can be any website. Of course, it's going to be business related, but it can be any website that you may need to go to on a regular basis.
Okay.
So that's another quick way to keep you within CRM. Each user has the ability in CRM to create calendars and tasks. Those calendars and tasks can be generic or what we call general. In other words, it's a general appointment that you got to go to, or you can actually tie or create them to a customer. If you create them from here, they by default are general.
Okay.
If you were to actually create one within the customer view while you have a customer highlighted, which I can show you quickly when we get there, it'll actually be tagged to that customer and be categorized appropriately.
Okay.
So to add a task, I just double click or hit the plus sign. It opens up the task. I can define the subject matter, basically give it a title. I can set the start date, end date, all the same typical parameters that you're used to. Set a reminder. The interesting thing about the new CRM module, it has its own email engine. So when you create a task or a calendar, you can actually set it up so it will send you notifications of appointments, calendar appointments, or tasks that are due. First email will be based on the reminder time frame you set. Second email will be based on the time it's actually due. So if you have a BlackBerry with its own separate email account, or you are using a unique email account for CRM, it can be sent to your Outlook.
Okay.
All right, so you can be notified. It also, like regular applications like Outlook, will actually prompt a window up on screen telling you the events due as well.
Okay.
We also have a user definable field in the system in CRM where you can title it whatever you want, and I titled it sales activity, and I created a quick drop-down list of 3 different sales activities. The purpose behind this is to give you some filtering when it comes to finding information, calendars, and events from a global perspective, but also being able to run some reports that we see coming down the road. Okay. So you would select one of these and save it. You can save the item. You can set the recurrence by touching the clock here and defining the recurrence. You have a lot of tools in here like you normally do with creating any sort of document, plus something new is spell check.
Awesome.
We haven't had spell check in Enterprise before. So this is kind of cool. So again, you can create your task item and save it. I'm looking at my calendar and tasks right now. Now, I'm set up in the system as an admin, and because I'm an admin, I have access to everything. This order entry and estimating widget that are on here will show each user a list of estimate and orders that they actually have access to.
Okay.
So if you're a CSR and you have a bunch of accounts that you have access to, and those accounts have estimates or orders in them, you will have this list. If you were to double click it, it would actually open up that particular order so you could actually dive into the detail of that order. The unread email widget here is where you will be presented with a list of emails that have come into you through CRM, but you have not yet responded to them.
Okay.
So you could actually click it here and view it. You can't respond from here,
Mhm.
but you will actually see that the email has come in, and it gives you the ability to go respond to it from where it originated, or where it was deposited, and what company's account.
Okay.
Okay. The next widget here is the CRM Contact. This is where each user can just build a quick little list of contacts to get access to quickly. They can be general, or they can be related or grabbed from the database. If I click on a new one here and change it from general to customer, I now get a customer button, which then now brings me to a contact list. This is all the contacts in the database. I would select a contact, and then I could highlight it. The information gets pulled in. This is missing a phone number and email. I could add it at this point and save it, and it gets added to the list. Okay. So those are the three primary subviews within the home view. And again, as I showed you, one of the cool features about this is at any time you have access to the modules off to the side. Okay.
Well, that looks great. One of the features that a CRM system has is the ability to manage all activity for a particular customer.
Yeah.
And I assume that's in the customer view. Can you show me how the CRM module does that?
Sure. And again, that's a very important thing, because one of the things that we wanted to achieve here is change the dynamics of managing and accessing customer information. Right now in enterprise, everything hangs off an estimate and order.
Right.
And you have to go to different areas of the program to get access to various information regarding that particular customer that's associated to that estimate or order. Well, CRM changes that. So if I come up here to the customer view, this is where I kind of get into the heart of our CRM program. I now are presented with a list that is a list defined for me. Again, I'm an admin in the system, so I'm seeing everything.
Okay.
But if I was a salesperson or an estimator or a CSR that is restricted to certain accounts, this list would be defined by that restriction.
Okay.
Okay, so I would only have access to what I am supposed to be able to get access to. While I'm in this view, the columns that you see in anywhere in CRM work like they do in enterprise. You can right click them and change and add columns just like you could anywhere else in enterprise. But by selecting a customer, the information, notice the information down below changes. It's dynamic. I can increase the area or real estate below and then decrease the list, or vice versa. So basically, let's keep it up here because my list is only that big. But now with a customer highlighted, I go through the series tabs. I have the address information, and again, if I have the ability to edit, modify, or manage accounts, I will be able to do that from here. I have a contacts tab. This will list all the contacts that are associated to this particular account. And again, if I was to switch my view to another account, that would change as well. One cool thing that we did in CRM, notice a line underneath the email address here?
Yep.
That's now an active hyperlink. So if you're using the CRM email engine, you click that, it'll actually open up an email screen so you can send a general email to that particular contact.
That's great.
Helps save you a step. If I right click on any of these, I get sub-context menus again. I can add a customer from here, edit this particular customer that's highlighted, delete this customer. I can create an email that's from me, associated to this particular customer. I can create a task and an appointment that's from me and associated to this particular customer. I can also right click down on the contact itself, so it kind of drills down and gets a little more specific as to what the task, calendar, or email is tied to. Okay. Customer details, brand new area in CRM, brand new concept. There are 20 plus user definable fields in this area.
Okay.
This is where we want CRM users to use this area to help define market and information and sales activity information.
Okay.
Even though I'm a little redundant in my examples, geographical area, I named the user definable field that. Once I named it, it appeared. And I created a geographical list based on the United States. This is just a kind of an example of what you can do. Customer type already exists in the database, so this is a little redundant, but this is an example. You could actually expand what the current enterprise one has. But the objective here is to basically build as many, up to 20 some that we have, some fields that you can collect information pertinent to the management of these customer accounts, So when you start using CRMs for some of the marketing abilities, specifically future marketing abilities, such as create and distribution lists, that will feed off of this. Okay, so you can help filter that. Ship tos are all listed. Again, highlight each ship to, the information below changes. RFQs, if RFQs are being used in your company, those will show up here.
Okay.
I can actually right click. I'm not going to bother going through this, but I can right click, create an email. It'll open up the email engine. I can actually attach the quotation. So I can actually send the email out with the quotation attached. So the email comes from me, is associated to the house account, which is Successful Printing Services. It is tied to that particular quotation and has that quotation attached to that particular email.
That's great.
The advantage of using the CRM email engine is now everybody else that has access to this account can also see that email in that attachment.
Okay.
So help for overall management. So again, I would just click this attachment and I would then hit print, and it would, once I go through the process, it would actually, I don't have an email account set up on here, so, but you can notice it actually sent the RFQ attachment right here in the subject line. And because I didn't actually save the attachment, it didn't actually save the attachment, but it would save the attachment to this email, and that email can then be emailed.
Okay.
The other thing that we did that's kind of interesting with emails is, I know in my business and my job, I send out emails all the time to different customers, but the email topic or subject is pretty much the same. You may change who it's being addressed to. You may change something about time or quantity or something like that, but the overall message is the same. Well, we've done something to help streamline and make it easier. We actually have created what we call email templates, and you can name them whatever you want. When you select that, it pre-populates the email body.
Okay.
All right. Now, even though it's pre-populated, it's not fixed, and it's not carved in stone. So I can go in here and edit it, modify it, do whatever I need, actually change, put like a hi Bob, whatever it is I need to do to expand on that template. So it's a foundation. It's a basic template for that message. Saves a whole bunch of time. As I know if you're like me, you're not finger poke typing up messages takes time. Well, this allows each user, so from a user level, each user can create their own email templates and save them. And there's an area in the setup area where they can manage those, delete them, edit them, and create them. As an admin in the system, you can actually create templates that are considered global templates or public templates that can be used by everybody. So you may have disclaimers, standard disclaimers, or whatever that you need to have in messages that people need to use. Estimates, again, you get the estimate list. I can double click on the actual estimate in the list, open it up, or I can hit the add, edit, copy button. Current jobs, same sort of concept. Anyone that's highlighted, the information below changes. Notice I still have the job image buttons. I have the job diary notes. I have the gang run, so forth. Job history. I get all the jobs in history. I get that list. Sales note. This is new, and this is kind of cool. So the concept here on the sales note tab is this is where a company using CRM will, an individual user, whether it be the salesperson, and it may be a combination of a bunch of people, which is why this is important, because each person, as they interact with the customer, can record or document that interaction. Now, if they sent an email, obviously the documentation's already in the email, and using the CRM engine allows for that view of that information. But what if there was a phone conversation and there was something important about that phone conversation, or maybe the customer wasn't happy about something? Well, that can be documented here. So basically, you would type into this area here a message that would document the particular event or the event that you feel is important to record. And you can also add a file. This was actually recommended by a customer of ours, that they will sometimes go out onto a customer's site and do a presentation, and they have a PowerPoint that they use for that presentation, or a handout. Well, they said, well, it'd be nice if I could document the results of that presentation, but also attach that particular file, so that later on I can tie the two, keep the two tied together, and later on I can reference that. So you would have the ability to go out onto your network by clicking add and retrieving a document that you want to tie to that sales note. And when you hit the add button here, you would actually get a sales note similar to this with the paperclip attached. So if I click the paperclip, I can actually see the document that's attached. I can highlight it and view it.
Great.
Okay. Now, another thing we've done is, because we see the sales notes things being an important area for documenting interaction and recording events related to the customers, we've made it so you can print it out. I can select all, or I can uncheck this and select specific date ranges. I can select all CRM users, so if more than one person has made sales notes, they would be displayed. And I can print that to screen, and then that opens up the particular report that shows all the sales notes. In this case, I've selected all with no particular date range that have been entered and associated to this particular account. So if you're having sales meetings or production meetings or that sort of thing, you can bring this report with you and basically discuss the content of that report.
Great. That's
Okay.
a great
So
feature.
here's an example of that. So again, this basically date and time stamps when something was documented and by who. And if you notice, it's mostly me in this example, but I have Norman as one additional.
Mm-hmm.
So this again is a powerful tool for managing this account. Now, if you use an AR and the customer has invoices, which most customers would, you would have the access to those invoices from here.
Okay.
And using the same functionality that you can with estimates and everything else, you can actually email these invoices right from here as well.
Great.
Okay. Files and images, this tab here shows all the files and images that are associated to this particular account. You just highlight them and actually can double click and open them up. Events, we spoke about events. I'm going to touch base on this quickly. When I look at events from here, it's already filtered to specifically look at events for this customer. Events are emails to and from, calendars, and tasks.
Okay.
You can see what type they are by the event type field that I have on the far left here. I can actually double click and open up a particular event. So these were actually emails. I can see the back and forth, different colors. This one actually had an attachment. I could click it and see the attachment. This is for that management overview that I was talking about, that shareability. If you sent an email for this regarding this customer's account and you're out for a week and we get an email back in from this customer and somebody needs to jump in and take over, well, this system allows you to do that.
Yep.
And that's the advantage to using the CRM email engine, because any written correspondence that has gone back and forth is now viewable and accessible by those who have the rights to do so.
Right.
So it makes it very powerful. Now, email, even though email is an event and you can see the emails in the event view, we actually have created specifically an email tab, which just gives you a better, more common looking way of dealing with emails.
Okay.
So by clicking, I'm looking at emails in the general category, and again, these are all related to this particular customer, corporate printers. By highlighting the different folders, I can see the different emails that have gone back and forth. All right, so that's primarily all the different tabs currently right now in the customer view of CRM. So as you can see, you get access to everything from one general area.
Yeah, that's terrific.
Yeah.
That's great. I also heard that users would be able to customize or be able to have access to just the reports that they want to see in CRM.
Yeah.
In an easy way.
Yeah. What we decided to do is we created a whole view called a report view. So
Okay.
I'll show you that. Basically, this is a whole report view that's defined by user, and this is where each user, based on the different areas of the system, if they have access to this information, can add a shortcut, which looks like one of these little icons up here, to access a report.
Great.
So basically, each user can have their own list. Your list can be different from mine. Your list will be restricted by what you have access to. So if you can't see financial information, you should not be able to add a financial type report. And therefore, that financial tab will not be there for you. Again, I'm an admin, so I have access to the financial tab. You can right click on this and actually remove the individual report. We actually just added a new feature where you can actually email this report now. So based on this field up here, the account that this is selected against, you can actually right click and email the report, and that report, if it is customer based, will then be produced based on the account that's selected up in that list.
Oh, great. Can users add their own custom reports to this as well?
Yes, they can. There is a setup area in My Preferences where admins can go in and add reports. and they'll be able to actually define which users have access to them.
Terrific.
Because those custom reports don't fall within the same security access controls that the
Right.
regular enterprise reports do, we had to give control of that accessibility from the area in which you set them up.
All right, now, I understand as an admin, you have kind of a global view of all the activity and events that are going on
Yeah.
with all of your different users.
Yeah.
And I guess that would be the event view.
Yeah,
Can you show us that?
sure. Well, we showed you the event tab within the customer view,
Right.
which is focused on that highlighted customer. But we've actually created a global event view, which is one of the primary views in enterprise. And right now I'm just looking at all types of events.
Okay.
The primary purpose for this area is to give admins and managers the ability, or team members within groups, the ability to go find something that they're looking for.
Okay.
Again, an event could be an email send and receive, it can be a calendar or a task, and those types are identified off to the side here. If I see like a calendar, I can actually double click it and see that calendar event. If I see an email, I can actually see the email that was sent out. If the email has a to and from, I can actually see the to and from, and if there were attachments, I would be able to open and see the attachment file. The other primary reason for this is reassignment of responsibility or ownership of an event. For example, an email may have come in from a customer and it ended up somehow in my queue, but it was actually really meant for you. So what I can do is I can reassign it, the owner, for you, and actually make that email now part of your view. Okay. You may get a rogue email in, depending on how you're utilizing the CRM email engine. You may get a email that came off of your website address that's not assigned or associated to any particular account at that time. It may be the first time you get an email from a potential prospect. So you would create that, if it was a prospect, you would create that account, set them up as a prospect in Enterprise, and then you could come in here to the customer account and assign that to that particular account. Now this one actually has an account assigned to it. In theory, I could actually reassign it to a different account. Not sure why you would do that, but that's possible with the right access rights. So that's looking at everything. And I can filter by sales type, CSRs, estimators, shop floor people, CRM users. So these are all the users set up in the email CRM email section. And event type. Remember, we talked about different categories, general emails that were sent from an RFQ view, estimate view, order view, so forth. And remember that on that calendar thing, the sales activity type. Well, this is with one of the areas that this filter takes place. Okay. So again, you can manage all your events. Now, emails, jumping specifically to emails, same sort of concept. You have the different categories, emails and estimates. You can highlight that and actually read that particular email. And if you need to, you can actually respond from here, reply to all, forward it, delete it, refresh, and you can actually create a new email and tag it to a particular person. You can also filter the emails that you're looking at, because still I'm looking at all customers right now, so I'm looking at everything, but I can look at all customers and I can look at my CSRs. So I can filter and narrow down the emails to help me find what I'm looking for. We also made this event view where you can see your calendars. So as an individual user, if you're not an admin, you would come in and you would see, not only in the event view would you see just events associated to you, but all your accounts. You would see your calendar events. And if I was to click the task, you would see your task events. And again, these are yours. These are your task events. Me as an admin, I can see mine if I have some and I'm using them, but I could also select ones for the customers, but I'll have also the ability in the future to be able to look at your calendar events and your task events and just specifically your emails. So this is, again, where the power of CRM comes in, allowing you and giving you that global view.
That's terrific. A lot of great features.
Yeah, a lot of great features. It's coming a long way. So again, that's an overview of the system. We went through quite a bit of detail, but there's actually a lot more detail, how to use things specifically, and we are going to be doing some more videos, basically more concentrated videos for each of the main sections.
Great.
Okay? Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, this is Craig Andersen, and thanks for watching another episode of EPMS Tech Talk.
And I'm Joanne LaFlamme. Thank you.
Take care, and be sure to watch for more to come. Thank you.